I know that New Age types love to co-opt the she, spelled Sidhe.
That's
If you want
right,
to Google that.
pronounced she, yeah. Like Samhain is really pronounced Samhain for you Halloween fans. Gaelic's a strange language.
They relate them to the Tuatha De Danann and then claim that the she were once gods.
Yeah.
But the only history of the she that I am aware of is as the fairies of Irish Christian folklore. Regardless of who or what the Tuatha De Danann are, do the she have any real relation to them?
Well, as I say, they're sort of the aristocrats of the she world in Irish folklore. I mean, again, you have scholars say, well, it must have been this way. No, it doesn't have to have been that way, unless you were there and you can come back and tell me. But it does come back to the question of the objective reality or lack thereof of the she and their cognate folk in all the world's folklores and mythologies. And again, this is an area that is sort of embarrassing to talk about, not unlike UFOs, to which, however, I think there is a very close connection.
Really?
I do. Firstly, though, before I say anything more, let me say that the book I would really recommend on this whole topic is called Demoniality by a 17th century Italian theologian called Lodovico Sinistrari. There's a name for you.
I think that's the third time you've recommended this book.
Indeed. And the edition with Montague Summers' foreword, which is quite as useful as everything else in the book.
Yeah.
Yes, it is the third time, I'm sure. Why? Because it is simply the best thing from a Catholic point of view that I have ever seen that deals with it. It deals with the phenomena, and again, involves in the phenomena explanations for things like poltergeists and that sort of thing. As far as Sinistrari is concerned, the fairies and elves are poltergeists, poltergeists are fairies and elves. In other words, another race that inhabit this world with us. And he quotes the church fathers and stories like St. Jerome's tale of St. Anthony encountering fauns and centaurs and all that. I mean, it's a fascinating thought. I don't know how true it is because I wasn't there, and I've never seen one. I've seen. No, I'm not going to say it. It was a nasty joke.
Oh, okay.
Based upon the Hollywood Boulevard of my youth. So we'll leave that alone. But it's certainly the way he theorizes that you have a race of beings that inhabit this world with us, that have a strange connection of sorts to us, made of subtle matter rather than heavy, gross matter, which means that they can shape shift and look at like different things or become invisible. It would explain a lot of the more obscure areas of our history. And certainly, if you think about it, would explain the UFO phenomenon and UFO abductions, which oddly enough sound very much like the accounts we have of kidnappings to fairyland.
The fairies would ride in saucer-shaped spaceships?
Well, they would create illusions that looked like saucer-shaped spaceships.
Okay.
The way that in days gone by, they created illusions of elven castles on the hill.
So they adapt to us, it seems.
Precisely.
Okay.
Precisely. But again, none of this may be true. However, it is interesting that it is a universal motif.
See, I'm getting mixed signals from you on this because I've listened to your Biersack and Coulombe talk on UFOs.
Yeah.
And my main takeaway from that was that that science fiction and the UFO sightings. I'm sorry, the UFO sightings began with the advent of science fiction.
Indeed.
As in, that seemed to suggest that it's phony tales.
Well, not precisely. Again, and I bear in mind, I don't know the truth of anything I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
This is all what if. But imagine a race of beings that could shape shift, Shapeshift. There we go.
Yeah.
Boy, I wish I were drunk saying that. Shapeshift. Imagine such arrays. And again, imagine that they're not terribly imaginative, and they tend to take on their trappings from whatever we're thinking about,
Okay.
whatever our story is. When we became involved with science fiction and all that, that became the mythology of our day. And they adapted to it. Gave us what we expected to see. Just as in days gone by, they had the castles on the hill and the elves dancing in the wood, because that was what we expected to see. And what people in certain areas of the world expect to see now, which is why you still have fairy sightings.
Okay.
So in other words, it's not that it's phony in the sense of not having the reality, but they show us what they think we want to see,
Okay.
is the best way I can put it. But that's dependent on where we are. So again, what does St. Anthony see? He sees fauns and centaurs.
Okay.
What does St. Colin see at Glastonbury? The castle of the king of the fairies and medieval-esque troubadours and all that. And what might Betty and Barney Hill see on their way home from Canada to New Hampshire in 1963?
Okay.
But I am agnostic toward all this.
Yes.
This is all a big what if. And I have to say this, I mean, I'm being quite sincere with this.
Right.
I really have no bloody idea.
Yeah. Okay.